So welcome to part two of my inventory management system for restaurants. Part one was essentially the store requesting the items that need to be purchased from each particular store based on the quantity, if it need to be restocked or refilled or not. Part two is actually the store putting their receipt within the actual Slack channel and those actual items being updated in the actual Airtable based on the image of the receipt that was sent, whether that's Walmart, Sam's Club, downloading the receipt from their website, posting that image into the channel, and getting it put through the workflow so it can be added into the Airtable database. So, in order to get images to be processed, I'm using Mistral AI for my OCR reader. So, if this can be added into your own workflow, whether you need to have images, PDFs, processed or read and converted into actual data, this would be a perfect video for you. So let's get into it. So here is the entire workflow now for the inventory management system. This top portion here is part one, where they just simply requested for the items to be purchased from each particular store. And this bottom portion here is where the actual receipt is being processed. So I'm going to show you guys exactly how everything works and how everything is put into the workflow. So first things first, the receipt will be put into the actual Slack channel. So here is an actual test receipt that I used here. These are all the items, 13 total items here from this Walmart receipt. I got this right from the Walmart website. Each receipt that you purchase, it gets, if you have an account with Walmart, it'll send you the actual image of the receipt. So once that image gets sent to the Slack channel, it gets sent to this router here. And what this router does, it either gets sent to them wanting to, it depends which chat. So this router is set up at chat. So each chat within Slack has an ID. So this is the ID for the chat where they request the actual items to be purchased. This right here is the ID of the inventory receipt chat. So I have two separate chats. So depending on what they want, it can be distributed in the workflow a certain type of way. So because they put this in the receipt chat, it gets sent down to the bottom workflow or the receipt workflow. So what this if node does is, if it is sent with a text, as in they kind of copy and paste everything from the receipt and put it in the chat, it goes to this top column. But if the actual image or PNG image, or that's what the file name is called, PNG, if it's the actual image of the receipt, it gets sent down to this bottom portion. So this switch node here, this is more so for future construction. So at some point, in case it's a PDF document instead of a PNG, I have a switch node here in case that needs to be added later. So this is more so for future, building or future additions that may come later. So the next portion here's the get file with the HTTP request. So all this does is it gets the actual file from the chat, or the actual link from the image that came from the chat, the URL from the Slack, and then the actual file that got sent from the chat. If you want to know how to actually get images from Slack, just put it down in the comments, and we can kind of walk through that portion of it. Next, once you get the file, you actually have to download it. So now you see here the actual data from the PNG image is now downloaded. So this is now so we hit view here, you see we now have the receipt that was put into the channel. Next, in order to get Mistral to read, or Mistral AI to read the actual document or the actual image, you have to extract it and create it into a base 64 string. So what this base 64 string is, this is Mistral's way of reading images. So we take this data here and you put the binary input here as data. It has to match the actual name of the image. I have my name as data. It has to be exactly data. And the destination output is basically what you want to call it. I call them both data just to keep everything consistent. And it converts all of this, it converts this image into an actual, like, you know, text. So this is the same as this. This is just the text version of it. Or is how Mistral will read it as the text version of it. So now here's the tricky portion, and here's what kind of took me some time to get. So in order to get Mistral AI to read the exact document that you want, you, of course, you go to Mistral AI, go through their documents and stuff like that. You get the HTTP API, Mistral OCR. That's the URL you take. I already have my credentials saved through Mistral. Got my API key, and I already have it saved. My actual key is saved within my header auth. And in the body, you want JSON, and here's the actual JSON. So what you want to change here, when you actually, well, first things first, once you find the actual base 64 string within the Mistral AI, you can import the curl. Once you import the curl, it's going to give you this JSON. Once it gives you this JSON, you replace the data that was beside this data image slash, and you put the actual download Slack image within what you can get from here. Once you actually downloaded the image, you put that actual input here. And then once you put that in here, you get the base 64, and the data that was here, you put in the actual data that you got from the extract file. So all I did was drag this and add this right here. And for the download Slack channel, this data, I simply downloaded, here we go. I simply pulled this and added this right here. So all I did was pull this data and add it right here and take out the information that was there before. So it's data image slash, replace the information, put your download Slack image. Then you got your base 64 comma, and you put your data here. And once you do that, so all it's doing is, all this is saying, you can see it right here, data image slash PNG. All that's doing is letting the actual, it's not this private URL, it's actually this PNG file type. So yeah, file type. So all you're doing is letting the Mistral AI know what type of file is it. This is a PNG image. So you're letting Mistral AI know this is a PNG image, so this is what you need to process. This base 64 is letting you know what actual image needs to be processed, which we got converted through this extract file. And then you put the file, and then once that's processed, I turn the response format into JSON. You can turn into other things. You can turn into the actual image. You can turn it into a markdown, HTML. But I basically got all the information here from the data, and I converted it into a JSON, or I converted it into text. So everything that was on the receipt is now a text, which is right here. So once Mistral AI goes through that, I got my AI agent here, my grocery list formatter. I got the prompt user as markdown, which I got from Mistral AI. This is, again, the whole entire receipt. And I essentially now have my message prompt to, it's a JSON aggregator. So I get all the data from the actual receipt, and I get it transformed into JSON. So once I get it transformed into JSON via my actual prompt, store, date, name, quantity, price, total price. Once I get the actual data to format into JSON via, my prompt or my grocery list formatter AI agent. Also, I'm using Anthropic model. And I also use a calculator just in case there are one item was purchased multiple times. Once the receipts get super long, it may need to count like how many like items are like. So let's say they purchased 10 peppers and it comes up as, it comes up separately. It will need to do the math because AI tends not to be the best with math. It will actually add up all of the items that are exactly the same. So it gives you the output of everything in the correct manner. So that's why I have the calculator on here. So once that's done, I get a code node here, my PNG code node, and all this does is put everything or all my items into an actual table. So as you see, some items had 3, some items had 2, and some were only purchased once. So from the actual store and the date it was purchased from the store as well. The department doesn't really matter. And the actual item name that's on the receipt. So once that is put through the code node and all the items are processed, we split it out. So we split it out via item. Once these items are properly split out, it gets put into either one or two things happen. So it gets put through here and it also gets put through here. So if the item is already on the actual Airtable, it will search the Airtable database to see if that item is actually within the database. If it's not in the database, it won't give you an output. As you see, none of those items because that was just a test receipt, that's not actually the restaurant's items. The input never got put through because none of those items are actually within the Airtable database. So all 9 items got put right into the new item alert. So every single item is new, or it's not within the actual Airtable database. So we merge that information. So if an item or two was on the actual database, it will get put through the search, and those 2 items will get processed differently, and it'll actually send through the merge. Because it's not, we just get 9 items. So I say all that because if certain items were actually already on in the Airtable database, it will go to update. And because it's not, all 9 items get put into no record found. So now the items are being created into the actual Airtable database. Whereas if the items are already in, the inventory would just simply be updated. So now that all 9 items are actually put through all 9 items are actually created into the Airtable database, we have another AI agent here that this AI agent, its only job is to create messages into the Slack channel. So this is a little bit of my twist on it. So once the message gets sent into the actual Slack channel, the way that I like to have it is if the item is updated, it will say item has been updated within the channel. If the item is new, it will say this item has been added, the price, the quantity, and then it says new on the shelf. Because all these items are new, it says it's new. If the items were updated, the system prompt would have a different message. So here's a little bit on the prompt that I have. I also have it generated to create different emojis for different items. So if they purchase some peppers, it'll come up with a pepper emoji just to kind of, keep things a little creative, keep things, just throw a little bit of flavor in there. And you see the output, you see certain items, these blueberry, there's a blueberry emoji here. It can't exactly read everything, but that's fine. So once that happens, it gets put within the actual Slack channel based on the JSON.output. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And we go to the actual Slack channel. and go to the actual channel, you see here, this is exactly what we have. Added basically everything that I showed you guys within the AI agent. And just to show you guys another example, here is some things that was purchased last time or maybe a couple days ago. As you see, because these items were actually already in the inventory, bell peppers, zucchini, it says updated, right? 8.12 was updated. 72 bell peppers were added, restocked. So you see, this message output is different than the stuff that was never in the Airtable database. This part two of my inventory management system, where we had the receipt put into the channel, had it processed through the workflow, added into the Airtable database, and had a response to let the actual owner know that what items were updated, the actual quantity it was updated at, and whether or not it was a new item. So this is important because sometimes they purchase things that they don't necessarily want in their actual Airtable database. And for that, that's the point of the Slack response. So if they don't want that, they can then go back in the channel and say, can you delete so and so item? Maybe it was just something like some candy or something that they got for themselves, or something, a personal item that can be taken off the actual Airtable database. So that's the purpose of the actual Slack response. So there you have it. If you like this video, leave a like and a comment, and peace. Until next time, be back with part three soon. So.